There's been a renewed buzz this week around Saudi Arabia listing its most valuable asset, Aramco. This week, Aramco named a new board chairman, replacing Khalid al-Falih, Saudi Arabia's oil minister, with Yasir al-Rumayyan. Now, al-Rumayyan is a finance-minded guy. He's a close advisor of 34-year-old Crown Prince Mohammed bin Salman, and he's also in charge of Saudi Arabia's sovereign wealth fund. What this move does is it at very least puts the perception of greater distance between Saudi Aramco and the government. The state owns Aramco, so this will be important moving forward when and if Aramco does list on an international stock exchange. So here's what we know. The Crown Prince has said that the kingdom wants to list up to 5% of Aramco. That listing would take place on two exchanges. One would be on the Saudi Tadawul Stock Exchange, and another would be on an international platform. We don't know whether that would be New York or London or Tokyo or Hong Kong. Saudi Arabia is still looking at the different options. And Aramco is a company that hasn't needed to be transparent in the past. So there are questions over transparency and where that listing could happen and the kind of requirements that Aramco would have to put forth to be able to list. But here's what we do know. Aramco this year released its financials for the first time in recent memory. And what it showed is that Aramco's profits were $111 billion in 2018. Now, to put that in perspective, Apple's profits were $60 billion. So what it showed is Aramco is the world's most profitable company. And there's a lot of buzz around Aramco listing up to 5% of its value because it would be the world's biggest IPO. Now, for Saudi Arabia, this is important because the Crown Prince is undertaking a massive overhaul of the economy to try and move it away from its reliance and addiction on oil exports for revenue. So what the Crown Prince's plan is to move ownership of Aramco under the Sovereign Wealth Fund, which al-Rumayyan oversees, and use Aramco and funnel the income and earnings from Aramco to the Public Investment Fund to invest and to build up Saudi Arabia's economy and projects. Now, the diversification efforts of the Crown Prince have floundered a bit because still, the kingdom is very reliant on oil for revenue. And most Saudis still work for the government, so they rely on the government for their salaries. And the economy is still very driven by state-backed projects. And for his overhaul to really succeed, experts and analysts say he will need a vibrant private sector. He will need foreign investment, and there's questions over whether investors are buying in to his plan for the future. This is Aya Batrawi with the Associated Press in Dubai, United Arab Emirates.